Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone else.
Tonight, we're going to watch again an European movie. We like American movies, but as you already know by now, we appreciate European movies as well. And tonight, we're going to watch a Spanish movie called, I guess it's 2023, called The Teacher Who Promised the Sea.
Interesting title.
It's a title that I have to say, it caught my attention immediately, and Amy's too, because as you already know by now, she is a great and passionate and devoted teacher, and whenever there's a book or there's a movie or there's anything about teachers or a teacher or something related to teaching, she is on it. So
And this one, this title somehow has captured my curiosity, because I'm thinking, how does a teacher promise the sea? Is this figurative? Is this literal? What is this about? And well, I don't know anything about the movie except to know that that's the title.
That's one part of it. Promise the sea, which is again. But then the first part is a teacher who promised.
Yes.
And that also had an impact on me and sparked my attention. A teacher who promised.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. So anyway, let's watch the movie and then we'll talk about it. So, a teacher who promised the sea.
And now I understand why promised in the title sounds like maybe it wasn't fulfilled. Past tense.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher who promised the sea.
Right.
Although it was through no shortcoming of his, I would say.
Yes. I would say a good movie. Not a great, but a good movie.
Yes. I guess it's a movie which reminds us again of the incredible impact, the lasting difference a single person can make in one's life, even if you only are exposed to them for a short period of time.
Tell me, which is the scene that impressed you most?
Oh, that's hard.
Is it? Okay, I'll tell you the scene that impressed me most.
Okay. There's one that comes to mind right now, please. But let me hear what you're thinking.
No. You go.
Well, I guess there are two.
All right.
Maybe three.
Oh. Go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. So the first one that came to mind was the moment when, I guess, was it little Carlos, that stayed with the teacher? Mm-hmm. I hope I've got the names right. The grandfather, when he was a boy,
yes,
stayed with the teacher, and the night when he went towards his bed and then impulsively turned around and hugged the teacher, Anthony, and that was a moment which really spoke to the positive change that he felt in his life, in a very, very free and natural child's response to just feeling safe and visible and understood. And I thought that was just a really sweet,
very good scene,
special scene. And the mayor's daughter,
okay,
when she comes strutting into school and she's all bewildered about the change in dynamics and she just, I mean, that one scene, but also every time she appears, this sort of nose in the air. And
Well, she is the mayor's daughter.
of course she's the mayor's daughter. And then but the scene in that that sequence of getting to know her throughout the movie that stands out to me is when how did you say it? When the teacher asks it, when will she speak to him as an equal? That was such a good one. Yeah. And I just thought of another one, but now I forgot. Oh, of course. The printing press. And the of course this gets very close to teachers beliefs and feelings that I have. The idea that you get a child involved and interested in something and passionate about something and feeling like they own something, and they learn so much through that. And the printing press was the key in this case. And I just loved seeing how that was such a wonderful part of their experience.
And when the
examiner
came, yes,
his kind of befuddlement
bewilderment. It's like
about
what? you do this? You like the kids are doing this?
And,
no.
Well, that's not so much. What I was impressed with was his befuddlement, his dismay when every child answered every of his one of his questions so well and so correctly. There was nothing he could find wrong.
Yeah.
Such a satisfying moment.
Yeah, great scenes, all of them. But I guess the scene that really went straight into my heart was when he first started the school and the priest comes in for the first time in the classroom.
Oh, yes.
And the priest is looking around and he notices that the cross from the wall is gone. And he says, where's the cross? Or where's the Lord? Or something like this. And I
loved, you'll get to that, but I have to interrupt. I loved the way it showed the remains of his power over the children as they started to respond to him as if he were still in charge. And you could see that Anthony's hold on the classroom was still very fresh and tentative, and they didn't yet feel like he was their master.
You even have a symbol of that on the wall. Because you still have the
shadow
shape
of the cross.
Right. And Anthony's attitude, it was so great.
Yeah.
Because back then, it's 1935. Yes, I guess it's 1935 when the revolution started, and then Spain became a dictatorship under Franco. And I mean, Spain is a Catholic country, man. And you go back then, and you go in some remote village where people are so by the book and so conservative, and you stay there and say, look, 1 + 1 = 2. This is school. It's not a church. Get out. I'm busy today.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to be somebody.
In the children's faces,
exactly,
as they saw the priest vanish from the classroom.
And it's it was. I mean,
did that?
Yes, it was. From the very beginning, it was clear. Knowing the historical setup and stuff. I mean, I immediately thought, okay, so it's clear
the storyline is expected.
How he's going to die. How he's going to die. But it is people like this who make a difference. Yeah. It is people like this who are the true guardians of freedom, human rights. It is, and from this perspective, I very much like the idea of the setup of the movie. Ari is her name, right? Ari, which is the great granddaughter.
She's
great
granddaughter of the little boy
Carlos.
Yes. Who stayed.
And so the setup of the movie is Ari looking for what remained of
her past,
and of Carlos. But then when she finds out the story is more than Carlos right now, it's Anthony as well. Yeah. So it's the idea of because you're thinking, okay, so what's the point? Why does she do that? I mean, it makes no sense. At the end of the day, you leave your little child behind. Your mother is unhappy. You have no husband. It's a difficult situation, and then you just go there to look for some bones. Maybe you'll find them, maybe not. But the idea of today, we need that. We should look for that. We should find that because we need, and it's today, and it's going to be always.
And I think it's even more than that. Because first of all, of course, there is this need to have one's own identity. That's what Ari was searching for, not only for herself but for her grandfather. So she thought. But the need to know who you are, your past, your history is so much a part of that. Many people feel the need to go dig into their past to really get a sense of identity. And she was obviously struggling in her own personal life. She was not well. It's not clear what sort of unwell she was, but the
idea is that it's a difficult situation.
It's a difficult situation, but she is she has no connection. She's not the generation that lived through that. She's not even the next generation that came after that. She is the third generation. And then you see her daughter, which is the fourth generation. And I think that one of the biggest messages that comes from that is that here is somebody, a small, insignificant personality in a small, insignificant village who lived a small, insignificant life in terms of length and size. He never even got to take his students to the sea as he had promised to do. And the impact, not only on that generation, but that it continued to the second and third and fourth generation. There are two lessons. One is, you don't have to be great and famous in order to have make a world of difference generations down the line. Second is, this is why we should remember these people. Because you saw suddenly the light and the change in her whole way of relating to life, even to her family, when she came to know this. And so it had left its mark, but it was likely to stop unless she had gone back and uncovered
dig out all this.
And so it's two-sided.
Yes.
These people changed the world forever. Yes. And in order for their influence to be felt, we have to remember them.
Yes. So this movie, as I see, and there was one thought which came into my mind, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But so this movie is just a tribute. It's not only a tribute to this lamps from the past, but it's also an encouragement for everyone today and in the future to follow the same path. So now, the scene with burning the books. We're all familiar with the burning of the books scenes. Remember the book thief. Same thing. We see this scene in many movies, especially movies about Nazis. Right? They were burning the books, and I was just thinking about it that people usually think, oh yes, because any dictator, any regime, dictatorship is against education and they're burning the books. And this scene is always a symbol for that. And it's true. But I was just thinking about it, and I want to talk about a detail which is very important. I remember back in the communist era, the educational system in Romania was so much tougher than today. Mm. It was so difficult to be admitted at a university. The exams were so hard, and going through a university and graduating, it was very, 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 very hard. Very hard, because the standards were very high. The school was very solid. The system was very solid. The teachers were demanding, were very, very, very demanding. And so we had to keep up. We had to. Everyone had to. But was that education? And my answer is no. That was not education. First, the entire educational system was based on memory. You had to memorize. You were not allowed to think by yourself. Mm-hmm. There were certain books which were definitely banned. There were certain authors who were not allowed to be printed. You were not allowed to have their books in your house. You would get in trouble if they would find those books in your house. They were certain, but they were investing a lot in training people to excel in whatever, engineers, doctors, whatever. They were very hard on that, but not education. That was training the children to become very useful pieces in the whole apparatus of the society, of the government, whatever, of the country. But that was not education. They were always burning those books. Not the science books, but the other books, the books which were helping you, training you. I remember failing an exam because I refused to write what they taught me about a certain literature piece, and I wrote what I thought about it, and they failed me. Yeah,
you didn't give the accepted answer.
Yes, the one who was graded A was the one who could memorize to the comma, every word. If you could reproduce everything, you were the best, and you would have those either a red stripe or a blue stripe or a yellow stripe, and you would become a chief or whatever, in the communist pioneers, we were called pioneers, right? But it was all based on memory. You were not allowed to think by yourself. And so the same thing, we see the clash here. This person, this teacher wants to unlock the children's minds and their spirits and their creativity. But on the other hand, we see the scene when he's executed. And it was one detail there which caught my attention. So there are two soldiers, whatever. They take him out of the truck, and they put him down on his knees. But then the soldier doesn't shoot him.
No,
he goes
he
a few steps away, and they light a cigarette, and then he turns and shoots. Like mindless.
Yeah.
Like flushing a toilet, let me light up a cigarette first or whatever, and then I can. I mean, it's just
in other words, his cigarette is more important than this guy on the ground.
Yes. Yes.
And back to what you're saying about the educational system and the significance of the book burning here. Mm-hmm. Really, in this movie, this book burning is more than just burning books of information, forbidden books, because these were self-printed books. These were books that had no identity as being forbidden. I'll tell you what was being burnt here. was the children's right to think and discover.
Yes, it was
And the fact that
themselves, their spirits.
Yes, so
yes, their
It wasn't
creation.
about the teacher. It was about the children.
It was about what the teacher did and his way. Because remember, he received warnings along the way. You're writing things that's it's dangerous. You shouldn't do this.
But it's the villagers, they know, they sense. And I don't think that the teacher was actually clueless. I think that he chose to live according to what he believed was right, regardless of what's happening politically. Openly.
Because he even said, "I'm an atheist."
Yes.
Openly, which was like bad back then and there. Man, you don't say something like that.
Yes. So there's a lot to admire and a lot to appreciate about this movie. It's not a movie that really kept me riveted to the screen in the way it was written and presented. That's why I kind of agree with you. I can't really call it an oh wow, that was a great movie.
But it was good.
It was good. And it brought certain elements of these kinds of situations and these kinds of people to the fore to give attention to and consider and remember, because that is the most important thing.
So let us know what you think about this movie, if you liked it, and long live the teachers.